Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss isomers. So what are isomers? Well, essentially isomers are just, well, you have to have at least two, but they're at least two molecules with the same, this is the first part of it, they have to have the same molecular formula, but they have different structures. Okay, and now whenever you have molecules with the same molecular formula but different structures, this part right here, the structure part, implies that they are going to have very different properties. And so we will talk about the different properties of isomers when we start talking about octane ratings, so we'll get into that later. But right now I just want you to be able to identify isomers. So let's look at an example. So this first one we have here is octane. Okay, so every one of these black circles here represents a carbon atom. And so if we go through here, we will see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carbon atoms. And then every single one of these white ones right here, that is a hydrogen atom. So that's 2 right there. And so if you count all these up, we will see that we have 18 hydrogen atoms. So octane is in the linear geometry and it has the molecular formula C8H18. So now let's look at its isomer. And so this is called Iso-Octane. And so again, we can count up the carbon atoms. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's kind of underneath that white one, and then 8. So again, we have 8 carbon atoms, and then if we count up all the white ones, we would see that we have 18 hydrogen atoms. So if we look at this, octane and iso-octane both have the exact same molecular formula, but we look at these pictures and they clearly have very, very different geometries. And so we could actually refer to iso-octane as something with a branched geometry. And if we wanted to, we could go and look in and assign the geometry of every single one of these carbon atoms when it's a central atom. So let's look at some more examples and see if this makes sense. So let's look at butane first. So 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms. We know that carbon always wants to be surrounded by 4 things because it has 4 valence electrons. So if I were to draw out butane, it would look something like this. Okay, so now I'm going to draw out another structure, and I want you to decide whether or not you think that these two molecules are isomers. Okay, so let me finish drawing this structure in, and I'm going to put 3 hydrogens here, and the question simply is, are the 2 of these isomers? Yes or no? Go. Alright, did you get an answer? Hopefully you did, but just in case you didn't, let's work through it together. So the first thing we have to do is identify the molecular formula of this one. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hydrogen atoms. Come over here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So we have the same number of carbon atoms. Then look at our hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the one on my left is actually called butane, and the one on my right is called butene, okay? Now, these are not isomers. If these two things do not match, they are definitely not isomers, okay? So now let me draw out one more. We're going to compare it to this one again here, to butane. So hopefully you've drawn that out so you can have a picture of it. So this one's going to look like this. So we're going to have 1, 2, I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm going to draw out this structure. And so again, this is a hydrocarbon, so all I'm doing is adding hydrogens to this. Okay, it's a very unique structure, but your job is to look at it and decide whether or not these two things are isomers, okay? Go. Alright, did you get an answer? Hopefully you did. And so the first thing you have to do is identify the molecular formula. So let's count our carbons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 carbon atoms. Now let's look at our hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. C4H10. We have C4H10. These two are definitely isomers. One has a linear geometry, one has a branch geometry, but they are definitely isomers. So hopefully you understand that. If you don't, take a second, stop, and review this material because it's important for our next subject. Take care of yourself. Bye, guys.